Ahoy there, and welcome back to DohMance Dawn for episode 79. It's your premiere podcast for One Piece and The Simpsons, and we're over technically the number if you want to count the specials and stuff, but whatever. It's the 79th coverage of episodes that are normally shown on the show. We've been doing this for a while. I'm Luke, he, him, sometimes say them, and I'm joined by my lovely and wonderful co-host who won't have a third thing to say about herself.
Hello, my name is Janine Juliet. My pronouns are she, they, and I don't have a third thing to say. Nice try with reverse psychology.
I mean, technically, you don't have a third thing to say is a descriptive trait about yourself. Like
I'm
you
not going
said,
to argue that. We have too much show to go through.
I mean, I think that this may be a weirdly short one because while big things happen, especially on the One Piece side of things, don't care. I'm in a weird mood. It's Father's Day as we're recording this. I got done with the family call. I also got called out by Reverse Eye Patch for a meant where I did not clearly define that Dalmatian was a Zoan type user. It's fine. When his ass does something actually important to an important character, then I will apologize to his furry dressing ass. But yes, we are covering episodes that initially ran between December 12th and January 23rd of the year 2011. And one of these episodes I know by reputation to canon, and then another one I think I've heard about once or twice. But the first one is Donnie Fatso, where after the new year, a bunch of new laws come into effect, and when Homer tries to bribe his way out of paying these new bills, he instead gets sent to jail. He offers to turn evidence on Fat Tony for the FBI and goes undercover, and he connects with Fat Tony, who ends up breaking him out of prison. To solidify his trust, Homer gets asked to burn down Moe's bar, which happens as Moe is already burning the bar down, so Homer passes the initiation. But then I guess he kind of just forgets that he's still wearing a wire for the FBI, and so they are able to bust Fat Tony, who then, out of shock, dies of a heart attack. And then Fit Tony, his cousin, shows up and takes over, but all the stress pushes him to eat, and then he becomes the new Fat Tony. And it's kind of just like, what? Okay, why? Oh, like somehow people like this episode, and I feel like it really just falls apart and really doesn't commit to any of the parts all that well.
I don't know. I had fun with it. To be honest, they have done a lot of different angles with this mob. I do think that how they get back to the status quo is definitely contrived. Not the most, stupid. I think that there is something about watching Homer earnestly be affected by the death of another person that was like kind of a breath of fresh air, but then to kind of know that, oh wait, no, we as the viewer aren't really going to see anything really come of this at all. We're just kind of like left to believe that this is just information that is inside of Homer's mind that he can't talk about, that's going to haunt him for the rest of his life. And that part delights me.
Fair. It's also one of those things that they never really follow that consistently, because we're also going to see Fat Tony's son Michael come up and still treat Fat Tony as his dad. So the Simpsons wiki says that this is non-canon. But what does canon even mean?
Yeah, I mean, inside of a show where everything has to go back to the status quo,
Minus a few changes, but yeah.
minus yeah, like there's very few things that break the mold and make huge changes, but
Yeah, only shooting stars break the mold. It is also weird that they gave John Hamm a role in 2011, which I'd say is still pretty peak Mad Men time, and his character is just FBI agent and does not actually get a name.
I got nothing on that. I don't know a Mad Men. I don't know a John Hamm.
It's fine. He apparently was just kind of a monster in college, so. The next one is Moms I'd Like to Forget. Bart gets into a fight with a fifth grader, but then he finds out that he and one of the fifth graders, Eric, share a similar sword scar that they can't remember how they got it. He asks Marge, who remembers that she used to be a cool mom and hang out with other cool moms, and that Bart hung out with Eric and two other boys, and she decides to bring them back together. And so Marge and Homer hang out with the moms and dads. Homer does not really get along with the dads at all, just because they are very uninterested in hanging out with him. But the new boys are kind of like more extreme than Bart is, and he tries to figure out how they got the scars. That way, he can maybe break them up again. And comic book guy explains that they accidentally set off all the Fourth of July fireworks, and that's when the moms decided that they shouldn't hang out together anymore. Really, it was Bart can't hang together with him anymore, which is really just kind of ill defined. Bart goes to set off a similar explosion, but Marge catches him. She tries to talk about it with the other moms. They blame Bart as the bad influence. She leaves, and then congratulations, Janine, as
A person who's very turned on by middle-aged women.
they all make out with each other.
Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I love this episode. I feel like it is a treat for me who could be able to love um a plot relevant comic book guy. I like this idea of Homer desperately trying no matter what and just like not clicking with these three other guys to the point where two of them don't even talk and one of them just kind of like berates him the entire time. That drives him into the arms of Flanders.
Mm-hmm. And then they
Pro-
fuck.
and then they fuck. Um, I
Yeah.
I felt like this kind of was the start of getting a few dream sequences that kind of get blown up into really big proportions. That kind of becomes a trend for the next few episodes. For this one, notably speaking about the X-ray of Marge's brain that kind of like sabotages a large portion of it in order to replace it with whatever she's currently feeling.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that is an Inside Out movie that I would rather have.
Oh yeah, I think it is like a nice piece of Marge psychology. And I think it's something that can be done well sometimes. Here, I'd say it was a better example because it's more even handed
Yeah,
for
it
Marge.
it definitely does feel like the characters didn't stray too far from the platonic ideal of what a canon uh, Marge, Bart, and Homer are, despite the fact that you're adding in more people and different scenarios. They still ultimately feel justifiably like their own selves.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to go through like huge jumps in order to figure out how they're getting to the conflict of the story. It feels like a conflict that they could naturally have just as easily in a season 10.
Or even before. Yeah, I think it's a nice new it's a dynamic that fits within the characters without needing to introduce as ridiculous of a situation that I think in some ways it does. And it also kind of shows how like parental relationships have changed since the 90s when the show started.
I can see that, yeah.
All right, are we good to move on to the next one?
Please, I want to talk about this next one.
Let's talk about Flaming Mo. Smithers finds out that Mr. Burns doesn't respect him, and so he has nothing left in Mr. Burns's will. And so when he goes to drink, he ends up at Moe's because he's not attractive enough for the gay bar, and he decides to work with Mo to rebrand Moe's as Moe's, M-O apostrophe S's, a new gay bar. The new clientele assumes that Mo is gay and brings him a lot of business, and Mo's afraid to kind of like argue with them, and Smithers has issues with it, but Mr. Burns recognizes him as a success, and that's kind of where that whole plot line drops off, unfortunately. And then when the queer community isn't allowed to march in a parade, they push for Mo, who they assume is gay, to run for city council, which upsets Smithers. He calls Mo out during a speech, asks him for a kiss, and Mo admits that he isn't gay, half-heartedly apologizes, and the community abandons him, but then he still kisses Smithers and doesn't feel a spark. And then in a disconnected B plot, Mr. Largo quits because he meets a new guy, and Miss Juniper comes to school and is a free spirit who Skinner falls in love with. So he pays Bart with time outside of school to date her daughter, but Bart gets really tired of her. And so Miss Juniper and her daughter leave, and Skinner goes with them for about 3 months. It's very underdeveloped. Like the Juniper plot does not serve a purpose other than, I guess, we don't want to focus entirely on Mo. I think that they could have done some more stuff with the whole thing that Mo like calls out, "Hey, Homer, my other regulars, you understand that I'm making this change. I actively don't want to lose you this time." And then having them navigate that relationship, I think, could have been a interesting setup. But yeah, give me your approach on this because yeah, Mo's in the wrong here, and I also don't necessarily agree with Smithers' way of handling things. More of his passiveness and Smithersness.
Well, to talk about the Smithers plot,
Mm-hmm.
it is definitely, there have been great moments in it, and it was great to see a good amount of gay characters brought into this episode, so we're not dealing with just Smithers and Julio.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Even giving us comic book gay, which is now a favorite of mine.
I'm on Team Grizzly Sean.
I think that it definitely had some moments that were not very great for transgender people. Those jokes sucked.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I think that in this instance, Smithers did go the wrong way about it. Sure, Mo was lying to them, but also I feel like Smithers, by outing Mo as straight, would be very similar to outing someone as gay, and to have it cost possible progression inside of Springfield sucks.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good way to get stuff back to the status quo, of course, but um I guess the best thing I could be able to pull from there is Mo kissing Smithers just to be sure,
Mm-hmm.
when there weren't any stakes because he was already brought so low. Just might as well. You got nothing else to lose. Kiss a man.
Fair. Yeah, I think it is a complicated thing because is it more ethical to have a person who may fight for representation of the queer community while pretending to be a queer person himself, as opposed to, like finding someone in the queer community who would be willing to run for that position or just going with whatever other candidates. But I also do feel like Mo is ethically in the wrong place for if he is being untruthful about his attraction. I mean, is that not also an ethical concern? Basically, I don't want to use leading on because I feel like that is the wrong phrase, but that's kind of like what it is. Mo is pretending to be gay on a level and flirting with his new clients, even though he ultimately has no interest in them. But also, you could argue that, oh, well, no, that's what a lot of bartenders do, regardless of gender or sexual orientation. So, is there a ethical concern inherent in the service industry?
To be honest, I'm pretty sure that there are gonna be plenty of even gay bartenders that would play up their attraction to their patrons just to be able to make sure that they could keep that business coming in order to keep um, people coming into the door. Is it queer baiting? Sure, yeah, but also um, I get it. I understand the hustle behind it, and it definitely went out of control from what Mo originally had envisioned. If it did not go to the point where Mo is almost an elected official, that could be um, something that would upset and be a scandal later. But on the other hand, um, who knows what kind of change Mo would bring to being a member of the city council, especially when the person that was running against him was a hardcore Republican
Who is also secretly gay?
who was also secretly gay, which I also kind of hate that idea. Like
Mm-hmm.
I get it, this stuff happens. There are Republicans who are either very closeted or they take their opportunity to be with other men as a sign of power or dominance, or
Mm-hmm.
maybe they're just like perverted as hell and just like want to get some kink fulfilled. That's also a case that does happen, but um, I feel like it does get conflated a lot as you know the
There's
case
more.
for every single one of them, and it almost puts the blame of like, oh, if the homophobes are actually homosexuals, then it puts all bigotry back on the same marginalized group.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like, in a way, it is something that is more represented in media than a lot of other diverse queer identity issues, in a way where it becomes a simple out and a quote unquote solution, I'd say, for story problems, as opposed to any sort of actual ethical discussion of what is going on.
Before we move on, I also want to touch on to Skinner's plot,
Mm-hmm.
because there is one thing that I enjoyed of it, and that is Calliope Juniper.
Mm-hmm.
Her as a character, portrayed by Kristen Wiig, really reminded me of another character that Kristen Wiig had played before, and that is Lola Bunny in the Looney Tunes show, who is just as spacey and honestly, I it's a show that I didn't get into as it was airing, but
Mm-hmm.
I've recently been hitting it up on Tubi whenever I'm doing chores, and uh, whenever she shows up, it is a delight. So being able to see a very similar character portrayed inside of Seymour's life it was very fun for me.
As
A person who's very turned on by middle-aged women.
Yeah, but like
mm-hmm.
much more specifically, crazy ass women.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, like the kind of erratic spirit, not necessarily a free spirit, but a erratic. Yeah, I had also mixed up that I thought that Kristen Wiig played the daughter and Allison Hannigan played the mom, but no, that actually makes more sense. That I got that wrong. Yeah, it's a weird episode. I think it could have used some punching up to be stronger, but the fact that it didn't really have, I think the fact that it is done in a way where there's a good space for discussions on queer representation, queer storytelling is at least better than, oh, we're going to forget about this in like 2 episodes of our podcast. Like
It's
so
not
many
the it's
Simpsons episodes.
yes. It it stands out as a pretty gay episode. It stands
Mhm.
out as I don't know, like I will be comparing other episodes that have gay themes to this one by simple merit that there aren't many, and a lot of them that are there, they don't handle it pretty well, dog.
Yeah, this was at least less transphobic than the gay marriage episode.
Yeah, and it is, I don't know. I can't say less homophobic because it's still there's it's a weird area. It's a weird
Yeah.
fucking area, but
Mhm.
I had fun with about 80% of it.
Yeah. The last one is Homer the Father, where Homer starts taking parenting advice from an old sitcom, and so when Bart asks for a new bike, Homer tells him he'll get a reward if he passes the test. Bart studies hard, and then Homer reveals that the reward is actually a sense of satisfaction. Seeking retaliation, Bart steals and sells nuclear secrets to the Chinese government for a new bike. But as he's stealing those secrets, he and Homer actually bond, and so Homer ends up buying Bart the bike in the end. But then Bart tries to return the bike and get the secrets back, but the spies catch him, and Homer shows up to save the day and ends up going with the spies to use his knowledge to help them make a new nuclear power plant, which then explodes, and Homer and Bart reconnect. It's a weird one.
It's very much a weird one. It is definitely a post 9/11 one where how can you betray your country? Like that does not seem like a thing that would be like remotely a problem for Bart Simpson pre 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's literally been portrayed as like worse than the devil. And also kind of racist when it came to the Chinese spies. Kind
Yeah.
kind of an awkward thing to be watching with my Asian boyfriend. I kind of like have to like go over and just be like, "Hey, I'm sorry."
Yeah.
Don't do Asian accents like that.
Yep. New characters we have unlocked include Nikki, Blue Pants, Alto, Saxophone, the Cool Moms, Dr. Squeak McJigger, Gertie the Dinosaur, Devil Mo, Skinner Guitar, Upscalion, and the A Team of Finland, amongst many others. But now it's a momentous One Piece episode, and because I've been running behind for so long, I forgot to give Janine a proper warning that when the shit goes down, you better be ready. When the shit goes down. We are covering episodes 479 through 484 of One Piece. These include In Front of the Execution Platform, the path to Ace is opened.
The path they each choose. Luffy versus Garp.
Ace freed. Whitebeard's final captain's order.
The power of burns even fire. Akainu's ruthless pursuit. Hey!
Searching for an answer, Fire Fist Ace dies on the battlefield.
Marine headquarters collapses. Whitebeard silent. Rage.
The robot voice kind of got away from you for a moment, didn't it?
Almost.
Yeah, I got my Shatner in for that first one. Yeah, last time that we recorded, Janine thought that my oh uh Christopher Walken. I literally had to mentally picture Christopher Walken reading Goodnight Moon on The Simpsons, which was done by a Christopher Walken impression to remember his name. My mind palace, Janine, it's crumbling like the House of Usher. Yeah. My Christopher Walken impression. I did it last week. Last time we recorded, I did 2 songs. And what's going on? And then you're like, well, isn't that a William Shatner impression? And then I had to do my William Shatner, which is different because it's a bit more down here, and I take pauses, but it's got less of a New York accent. What's going on?
So what happens in this episode?
Oh, right. So after Luffy used the Supreme Emperor Haki to knock out most of the men, Whitebeard orders his commanders to back up Luffy and Ivankov while Jinbei defends Whitebeard. Buggy, meanwhile, tries to save the last Din Din Mushi, but after they thought, it is afraid of Buggy. Inazuma forms a ramp to the execution platform, and Luffy is blocked by Garp, who he's always been fighting against, and then up at the top, Sengoku transforms into a giant golden Buddha to block Luffy, and then Kizaru destroys the key that he got from Hancock. Hey, Janine.
What's that?
You don't remember who we cast as Sengoku, do you?
My mind palace, she is empty.
Oh. Our Sengoku is Buddha.
Oh.
Uh-huh.
Hey.
Yeah,
Good
so
on us. We're geniuses.
Yeah, if you go back to the first episode with Devin on it, that's when we did that casting. And I said it would kind of pay off in a while. And it did. Anyway, that's when Galdino, and thank you, people who have reached out to me for pronouncing the name wrong. That's when Galdino, who disguises himself as a headman, makes a new key inspired by Benham's sacrifice and Impel Down. As the scaffold they are on is destroyed, Ace is freed and then protects the 3 of them from the unleashed attack of the Marines. Ace, now freed, starts to attack and wreck shit up, but Akainu is undeterred in his desire to catch them. That's when Squard crashes Whitebeard's second ship into the wall. That way Whitebeard can escape with the rest of the men, but Whitebeard is planning to die here so the family can get out, since that's what he has always wanted. He's wanted family. Family is the true treasure. Ohana means family. Ohana means no one gets left behind, Janine.
Fast and Furious. It's about family.
It's about family. We gotta go drive cars. That's also what my Les Miserables remake pitch is about, Janine. Have I told you about this?
I think I would remember that.
So, what if you retold Les Miserables, but Jean Valjean is a former streetcar racer who gets a second chance at his life, but then the only way that you can kind of stand up against the LAPD is by street racing and outsmarting the cops. And so it's one of those things where every time that it's like, hey, this would be an interesting idea, then actual LA shit goes down. And yeah, the current administration is bad. and the LAPD are bad, and the LA Sheriff's Department are bad, except for when they're accidentally shooting at each other. Yeah, I got off. I got off track, but yeah, I've got a Les Miserables setting change adaptation pitch. That's Les Miserables and also Fast and the Furious.
Fund it.
I mean, I do have the new podcast that's going to be coming out soon, where it is literally going to be me and Jupiter and some other wonderful people pitching movie scripts and reading movie scripts and talking about the creative process. So look for that. I believe we're currently calling it Putting on the Script. And Wednesday, I'm recording the first pilot episode of that. So that's closer than you'd think. So, anyways, Buggy is able to get the snail broadcasting again and start showing the new fight to the world as Whitebeard's men start to retreat. Akainu calls Whitebeard a coward who never really amounted to anything, and Ace gets pissed off and goes to fight him. Luffy ends up dropping Ace's Vivre card. Akainu goes to hit Luffy, and then Ace protects Luffy and gets a hole through his chest. And also for a while I was doing a whole hole in the Ace bit, but then you kind of were like, yeah, no, it's not fun if you keep mentioning it. So
Yeah.
So not delivering on that preparation, because I also think I'm over pushing it. But yeah, Ace is not walking back from that one, dog.
Yeah, to be honest, I did have this moment kind of a little bit spoiled for me, not just by your jokes, but through a meme inside of a Digimon podcast Discord server.
Mm-hmm.
And I definitely was pretty mad about it with the person who posted it.
Yeah.
But it didn't give me the entire story. I never knew who put the hole there, and for the longest time, I had just assumed that it was going to be Blackbeard. To find out it was Akainu was kind of like a surprise to me because, when I saw the episode list and I saw, oh, Ace dies, I was like, oh, so this is just about when it's going to happen. This is a for real thing that's going to happen. They have titled the episodes in one particular way, but then kind of booked the show in a different direction. So, you can't always believe everything just by episode title, but I felt like this was pretty definitively where Ace was going to die.
So it was a bit of a Shakazuki.
Nice.
Because Akainu's actual name is Sakazuki.
I just trusted that. I didn't. Okay.
No, I understood. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it comes like a punch to the gut. Fuck. Yeah. And, yeah, I had to apologize because I was booking one of our upcoming guests, and I was just like, yeah, I'm sorry that Luffy is going to be dealing with this for a while, because, yeah. So Garp wants to fight Akainu, but he's stopped by Son Goku, and Jinbei gets in the way to save him from killing Luffy too. Luffy, meanwhile, is shattered and pleads for anyone to save his brother, and Ace says goodbye to Luffy, remembering that, there were people who made his life worth living, and they remember sharing cups. Marco, who was freed from the cuffs by Galadino, holds off Akainu to protect the now catatonic Luffy, and he orders a retreat, passing Luffy onto Jinbei. Akainu still goes after Luffy, and that's when Whitebeard blocks and loses more of his body. And one of the things that people are really memeing on Toei for is the weird One Piece censorship. Because they cut out how badly Whitebeard looks
Huh.
Because like they cut out the blood, but it also gets to points where I'm trying to see if I can quickly find it. He is straight up losing. Yeah, like when Akinu punches him, he loses like a chunk of his head. I have just sent an image in Discord.
Yo.
Yeah. Like it hits a lot harder. And like they also brought up they've been bringing up all of the times where characters giving the middle finger gets censored, and then it's just like, well, you know what Toei's fine with? Host time skip titty. So
Well, at least I'll have that to look forward to.
yeah, there will be a lot to look forward to. It's a post time skip titty watch. Okay, so Whitebeard block. Yeah. So Whitebeard blocks the attacks, loses more of his body, and then creates massive fissures. And Akinu vanishes into one of them, but Whitebeard's men are now cut off from him. And that's when Whitebeard's crew appears with 4 new members rescued from level 6 of Impo down. There's the massive San Juan Wolf, the corrupt King Avalo Pizarro, the alcoholic Vasco Shot, and the Crescent Moon Hunter Katarina Devon. And I don't think it's looking good, Janine.
I guess it's not. Honestly, this might as well happen.
Mm-hmm.
To be honest, I've got a little frustrated for some of these episodes because I mentioned last time how much it feels kind of drawn out, and I get it. Animation is hard, but also, this would be more impactful if I wasn't so bored.
I think there's also some fairness to that. It definitely felt like it was moving faster than the episodes last week, or that we covered last time. Like there was less of just like, oh no, an attack. But we are kind of hitting the point where they caught up to the manga, and it would be really hard to put in fillers at this point.
I mean, I guess.
But we are getting close to the end of the arc. Next episode is actually going to be into the Summit War, and or at least most of it, and it will start flowing a bit more naturally, I think.
Well, I can't wait for that.
But we have 4 characters to match this week. So I am sending you my list of picks. And let's get going. First, we have San Juan Wolf, who I had said mistakenly none of these characters had eaten a devil fruit at this point. San Juan Wolf he ate the huge fruit, and that's why he's very big.
Oh, so he's not a canonical giant. This is just a...
No, he is a giant. He is just a giant who ate a fruit to make him bigger.
Oh, okay.
Bigger. So, I got 3 suggestions for everybody here. My Rodrigo style was Grizzly Sean, because I feel like San Juan Wolf could be a bear, but he does have a very different demeanor. I also had Wolf the Bounty Hunter, because that grizzle, that stubble, that general demeanor. And also, both of their name got Wolf in them. And then I had the Fat Man from the Couch Gag, where the man is too big and he can't fit on the couch.
Amazing.
Who do you have?
Well, for my Rodrigo pick, I have inside the Actor Studios, James Lipton.
Aha, James Lipton. You make a taste of soup.
And my second pick goes to Giant Kent Brockman, which I now feel like that we have already casted before, but I would also like to be sure of that, you know?
So you're just asking me to check that out?
Yes, if you would be so kind.
No, we have not. We have not even used normal Kent Brockman. We've used Rhino Kent Brockman.
Hmm.
I feel like nothing about him necessarily says newsman enough.
I don't think any character in One Piece should ever say newsman.
Oh no, we haven't gotten to the actual newsman.
The
Uh huh.
if
Yeah, he's
he's
fucked up.
if he's over 12 feet tall, I'm gonna fucking lose it.
Let me see. When I take in the morning, I get outside and I get real high and I a little peculiar. Ah, okay. The president. Okay. Sorry, Janine. He is only 10 feet tall.
This just in, kiss my ass. Um,
We'll get to him in like. This was. Oh, okay. Never mind. Oh, in like 300 plus episodes.
Jesus. That's just a regular thing you could say with this show.
One Piece. We'll see him at the wedding party.
See? Even then, that is context that by the time it comes up, I would have forgotten about it.
Okay. I'd rather push for Wolf the Bounty Hunter here.
They have entirely different physiques.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of would rather, I don't know. I don't know if I would want to use Grizzly Sean either, but
Yeah, Grizzly Sean is innocent. We are going to get to some radical queers later on. And maybe we should say Grizzly Sean for that, because Grizzly Sean is going to be a recurring queer Simpsons character.
oh, nice.
Mm-hmm.
I love that for Grizzly Sean.
Mm-hmm. We're a bear supporting community.
I guess I could go with Wolf. I mean, I can't think of a better kind of character for San Juan Wolf than that, to be honest.
All right. Well, then we have Avalo Pizarro. Who do you have for Avalo Pizarro?
Well, my Rodrigo pick was the 6-pack abs gay.
Mm-hmm.
And my second pick, I'm pretty sure we haven't used this one, but I have mentioned it before.
Mm-hmm.
But Torin Mel from Marge Gamer.
We have not used Torin Mel. My Rodrigo pick was Devil Mo, which is different than the Angel Mo who's on his shoulder, who's also a devil. My throwback was Torin Mel. My other suggestion was, just because I don't know when we're actually going to get to him, blue haired lawyer, but what's this?
Pere, 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 pere.
We got some suggestions in the Discord. So, there it is. Reverse Eye Patch suggested Scratchy, and I don't think we're going to use Scratchy at this point. Pizarro does not have an itchy, and you need an itchy and a scratchy.
Yeah.
It's just science. That one welder guy suggested Tim Tom Tabby from the Cats parody in season 17. Devin suggested Sideshow Mel from the Simpsons Tall Tales, where he has buffalo horns instead. And those are the suggestions that we got. Oh, and King Atticus suggested Kaiser Wilhelm II from Treehouse of Horror 13. Yippee Skippy, I'm a cowboy. I feel like we've done a positive Mo. We can use a villain Mo, and the Torin side is a good fit.
I mean, yeah, I see it.
All right. So we then have Vasco shots, 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 shots. My Rodrigo was B.A. Backstrom, the Finnish version of B.A. Baracus. My throwback was Drunky the Dwarf. And then I just put on full Barney Gumble. I was looking at if we could use Sam or the other barfly, but we used them long, long ago. And Vasco Shot's at least going to be recurring. I'm interested to see who you've got.
Literally,
Literally.
I threw down B.A. Backstrom and Barney Gumble as well. Like, those are my two only picks, and like, it literally ties with two picks of yours.
I'm good to go with Barney Gumble. A Vasco Shot is eventually going to get the power of alcohol. And he
That
is an alcoholic.
that sounds so perfect. I think
Yeah.
that we would be fools not to go that direction.
And he could easily be corrupted by Peter Griffin.
Damn, that's true. Yeah.
All right. And then last, we have Katerina Devon. Who do you have for Katerina Devon?
Well, let's see here. I had
She's a middle-aged woman. Yes, she's tall.
I had Madame Morrible as my Rodrigo style. For my throwbacks, I had future Edna Krabappel from the future when I think it was like Homer and Bart double date teachers. Yeah, that particular Edna. And then I had Witch Marge. You know the one.
Yeah, from the Treehouse of Horror.
You got it. Who's on your list?
My Rodrigo was also Madame Morrible. Because, there aren't that many evil ladies, and she's at least a pop culture reference, which I think is important. My throwback was Daphne Beaumont, who was a critic for the Springfield Shopper. And then this was also technically a throwback, but remember the Romani woman who's just called a gypsy in the Treehouse of Horror, where Homer gets cursed, and so like Lisa turns into a pony and Bart's head turns into a spiral. I think that she could also fit. She hits the same level of kind of scary. Also, yeah, I'm into it.
How do you feel about going for Madame Morrible?
I can roll with Madame Morrible.
I think so too. I mean, yes, we're giving a prominent 5-star character to a one-off joke, but also the pop culture behind it seems significant enough that kind of like elevates the character to a bigger role.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think it would be hard to argue that Wicked isn't popular, and we want to be popular, and I can't legally sing more in a parody because I haven't been in choir for years, or will be defying laws. All right, so wildly, Janine, you and I have gotten 3 together this time. And I think it's a weird mix of characters. Our San Juan Wolf is Wolf the Bounty Hunter. Our Avalo Pizarro is Torin Mel. Our Vasco Shot is Barney Gumble. And our Katarina Devon is Madame Morrible. So, hey, we each got points on the board this week.
Yeah, you might be up on me one, but I'm not that far behind.
Do we need to play this game, Janine? Do we need to play the stats game?
You literally are the one keeping score.
I am. Well, technically, I've got the machine keeping score.
But you have a machine that keeps score.
Yes, because I am a monster. I'm a monster. With 425, I am at 55.92%. Janine, with 370, we're at 40.39%. Devin, with 25, is at 3.29%. Claire, with 13, is at 1.71%. Eric, with 10, is at 1.32%. Ing, with 10, is at 1.32%. Rodrigo, with 7, is tied with Atticus, Jordan, and Sammy at 0.92.
Statistics, they're not just for baseball.
Uh-huh. But they're ruining baseball nonetheless. Because when everything turns into gambling, you lose the magic of the sport. And what is baseball really about? It's about seeing what new things the Albuquerque Isotopes have on their menu this year. That's why we're asking you to support your local baseball team into putting weird foods on the menu. That way we can talk about them. Because that's how you're going to turn this minor league baseball season into a slam dunk. All right, Janine. You know what we got next time?
What do we got next time?
Next time, we've got the end of the war and also the return of Angry Dad.
Oh my god, an Angry Dad reboot.
Uh-huh. We'll get actual flesh Ricky Gervais.
Oh, that's terrible.
All right. So, thank you all for listening. If you have money, you can donate to the Patreon that's in my name, Luke Hare. But if you don't have money, you can find us at places online. Janine, where can people find you online?
You can find me on Blue Sky at JanineJoliet.bisky.social. You can also find me on Instagram, Janine is dope. And you could also find me on the DohMance Dawn Discord channel. Luke, where could they find you?
You can find me most places online as at Coltreg. That's KLTREG. By the time you're listening to this, Play Comics should have up the 200th episode of their show where I talk about all of Naruto. And yeah, it's a lot of Naruto. I should also have some more news on putting down the scripts. So, also, we want to give a shout out to Mike Patten, the wonderful cover artist for these past large number of episodes. You can find him at most places at Patten Pending. That's PATTENPENDING. And if you enjoy the show, you know that you can find us at DohManceDawn.com or on YouTube if you look for DohMance Dawn. If you want to leave comments, that is a great place where you can follow us on Blue Sky, where we have a DohMance Dawn page. Or if you leave comments on the video, that is a really easy place for us to see what you're seeing. Or we have a Discord that you can join, and it's fun. It's a good time. So, yeah, coming up, we got the end of the war, and then we're going to do some flashbacks. We'll have a good time, but we've still got to kill some more people off because it's war. It's war, Janine. You know what they say about war.
Fucking, they can say whatever they want about war. I'm ready for everyone to die. They killed Little Ors Jr., and honestly, my attachment to everyone else in this fucking war is like less than how attached I was to Little Ors Jr. Justice for Little Ors Jr.
His fate is currently unknown, Janine.
Don't do this to me, man. Don't give me hope.
I'm looking at the wiki right now. His fate after the war is currently unknown.
Ooh, Oda. Ooh.
Yeah, and they're in Giant Town now, so. All right. Thank you for listening. Smooth sailing, and remember, your own Nakama can be very important to you. Make sure you let them know while you can. Peace.